Can you really write DAX with Copilot? Yes, you can. But at what expense? Copilot has taken over everything in our lives, and we really want to make sure that we're leveraging Copilot to the fullest extent that we can to help us out with our development efforts, especially as it pertains to like Power BI. And I'm seeing more and more people using Copilot to write their DAX, and in many instances, it is really, really good. So we're going to explore this new capability together. The first thing that I'm going to do is go over to my DAX Query View. And from the DAX Query View, at the very bottom, I'm going to open up a new query window. And you'll notice that I have this Copilot icon here. And if I hit Control-I on my keyboard, that's going to allow me to ask Copilot to essentially help me out. Now, in order to use Copilot, you do need to be connected to a Fabric capacity. Any Fabric capacity should do. At FabricCon earlier this year, they announced that they were going to make Copilot available to any F SKU. That means for as little as an F2 SKU, which is less than $1 an hour, you can have this Copilot functionality available to you, which is really amazing. At this time, this does not work with a Fabric free trial. Maybe that changes in the future, but if you're on a free trial in Fabric in a capacity, that will not work for you. If you're thinking, Mitchell, I don't know anything about licensing and Fabric and setting that up, don't worry. We have a video on our YouTube channel that Manuel Quintana did that actually talks about licensing and how to set up your Fabric capacity. Check out our YouTube channel for that information. But let's take a look at Copilot and what it can do. So let's start with something simple. I'm going to ask Copilot, create a measure that returns year-to-date sales. Pretty straightforward. And I'll hit enter. Now, when I hit enter, it's going to prompt me and say, wait a minute, you have to be pointing to a workspace in your Fabric environment that has a Fabric capacity. And so now I'm going to choose from my list of workspaces here, and I'm going to choose my DP600 workspace. Then I'll click OK. It's going to take a moment as it looks at my data model and it processes it. Now, one of the really amazing things about this capability right here is that I'm using Copilot to, yes, write a DAX calculation, but it's inside of my actual model. It's able to see all the tables, the column names, the relationships. So this isn't just some random search in some random AI tool that's disconnected from Power BI desktop. This is integrated into it, which truly is amazing. So this right here is going to get us our results. And you'll notice that it says, okay, we're going to define a measure. This measure that got created is called year-to-date sales, and it's using the total year-to-date, total sales date. This is perfect. That is flawless. And then so that we can see the result inside of this DAX query view, it says evaluate row year-to-date sales, year-to-date sales. Now, if you keep this query, and you like this query, you can click keep. You can also click explain, because you're going to write some measures with Copilot that are probably going to be quite extensive and quite complex. And then you're like, I don't understand what this is doing. Can you please explain it to me? And explain actually works really well as saying, hey, what does total year to date do? What does that function do? So you can ask Copilot right now, please explain to me what year to date does. So I'm going to say keep query, and that's going to generate this right here. And then right here at the top, if I like this result, if I like what this does and I know that it's right, I feel that it's right, I can say, go ahead and add this to my data model, because right now it's defining a measure, it's defining the code of that measure, but it has not been yet added into the actual data model, right? And so I could say update the model with changes. This one's going to be called year-to-date sales. I'll first want to check and make sure I don't have a year-to-date sales. I do not called that name, and it's going to put it on my fact sales table. So let's update the model with our changes, and then we're going to click update model. All right, so now you'll notice over here in my fact sales table, and I'll go back over here so we can take a look, we have a new measure called year-to-date sales, and this is exactly what it looks like. It's a measure just like any other measure. Copilot wrote it for us, and it's actually really, really good. And from here, we could come in here and we could say, we can modify it, we could adjust it, we could add parameters in there. So this is really cool. Let's try another one. I'm going to go back over to my DAX Query View, and I am going to go ahead and clear out this window here. And then I'm going to hit Control-I again. Let's say I have a fiscal year, right? And our fiscal year always ends on June 30th. So I want a year-to-date sales calculation for my fiscal year. So I'm going to say, create a measure that returns year-to-date sales for a fiscal year ending on 0630. Year doesn't matter because every year it ends on 0630. And I'm going to say go. Still connected to my fabric capacity to my workspace, so I don't have to connect it again. And we'll give it a moment. And there you go. It is creating a fiscal year-to-date sales. Now notice that it is again using total year-to-date. It's bringing in our measure for total sales. It's of course going to use the date column from our date table. It actually populated the optional parameter. Normally when I do this and I write it myself, I just leave that optional parameter blank. But then there's another optional parameter in the total year-to-date calculation that allows you to put your year end and override the default of December 31st. And look at what it did. That's pretty cool. It actually did exactly what we wanted it to do. And so if you're in here and you're new to DAX and you don't quite know all these different optional parameters and nuances, this would have written the code for you and it looks really good. So I'm going to tell it again. Let's keep that query. And I'm going to say update the model with changes and then update model. Now over here, if we click on that measure, unfortunately we kind of need to I can look at it in the DAX Query View as well, but I'm just kind of bringing you back to something that's familiar here. So you see it's not doing the evaluate, it strips that out. This is really cool. Let's take a look at something a little bit more advanced here, right? So if I come back over to the DAX Query View, I'm going to go ahead and wipe this clean again, and I'm going to hit Control I. And what I want to do is I want to return, and this is one that I've done. So if you want to dive deeper into this, make sure to take a look at our DAX functions tutorial that we did on YouTube that's 3 hours long, because in that tutorial, I actually go through a lot of Copilot things there as well. So I did one similar to this in that 3-hour tutorial where I said, create a measure, watch this one, that returns total sales for the top 5 products and the bottom 10 products. Let's see what happens. So what I'm expecting is that it's going to do a couple of different queries and bring them together. It's going to do a top 5 and return the top 5 products with the highest 5 sales. It's going to return that list. Then it's going to do a top 10, returning the ascending order to get the lowest 10 products, combine the 10 products together, and then get a sale. So let's see what it does here. So we're going to scroll up to the top. Now this is where we start getting a little bit more complex with our Copilot, right? You'll notice right here that we're defining a new measure called top 5, bottom 10 sales. I love the name. Product sales is going to be a variable that we're creating. We're getting a list of all the individual product keys from the products table, and then we're returning the sales for each one of those products. And then we're getting the top 5 products based on the sales in descending order, so the highest first, so top 5. Then we're getting the bottom 10 based on ascending order. Then it combines those products together. So now what we have at this point in time is we effectively have 15 rows of 2 columns, product key and sales amount, right, for those products. But it's only the 15 products that we want. So in the next one here, it does a SUMX, and I actually love SUMX. I love X functions. They're my favorite functions in DAX. It does a SUMX, and it iterates over each row in that table, returning the sales amount and then summing it up. As somebody who knows DAX, writes DAX a lot, this actually looks really good to me. Here's a cool thing to note. Because of the way that Copilot works, almost every time I do a demo like this, or I play around with this Copilot functionality, I get a different DAX calculation. And they're all right? Sometimes. Some of them actually, I will talk about that in a minute. But most of them are right. It's just different ways that you can write the code. And it's always interesting to see what it's pulled, what resources it's pulled to kind of come up with that calculation. But this looks really, really good. And so what I can do now is I could say, hey, you know what? I like what you did here. Again, we're going to keep the query. Now, in the past when I've done this, it's actually, instead of doing SUMX, it does a calculate total sales. It does TREATAS function to pass the product IDs into the product key in the product table, creating that virtual relationship. This is something different. This is a little different the way that it did it. And so, you know, if you're not sure, you come down here and you say, okay, let's go ahead and keep the query, right? But in addition to that, I'm actually going to hit Control I, and I'm going to say, explain to me what SUMX is doing in this measure, because maybe I don't understand it. And so I just want to ask, like, hey, what's going on here? What is SUMX doing? And then we'll give it a moment to kind of think through the calculation, look at some resources, and it comes back with, I think, probably a pretty impressive explanation. And so I can expand this here, and you'll notice it says, hey, the SUMX function in the measure that we provided is used to sum up the sales values for the combined products coming from the 2 different table variables, the top 5 and the top 10. Each of those tables had 2 columns, the product key and the sales value. Here's a breakdown of what it does, and it breaks it down and it goes through it. This is really cool. This is really amazing. Here's the one gotcha. And I see this all the time. One of the things that I do here at Pragmatic Works is I do virtual mentoring. Customers call up and they say, hey, I got to solve this problem. I've written a calculation. I've tried it 50 different ways. It's not working. I don't understand what it is. And so I help them solve that problem, and then I explain why and how it works. So if you're interested in something like that, you want to meet with me, go to our website, look at the description below. Take a look at our virtual mentoring program. It's a very popular service that we do here at Pragmatic Works. Lately, on those VM sessions and in emails that I'm getting from customers, I'm seeing a lot of AI-generated code. And what's happening is it's very close to the result, but it's not quite the result. And so customers are realizing it's wrong and they're like, look, I'm giving up. I need some help. What's worse than that, though, is what if you have a complex scenario like this? This would be very difficult to validate, very difficult to validate. With all the different filters that are going to be applied, this is a single scalar value that gets returned. It's going to be hard for you to test and validate that it's correct. So you might be building reports today that are actually, and I've seen this because I work with so many customers, that are actually returning the wrong results. And now your C-level executives, your managers, your directors, they're making decisions based on reports that are not accurate and that are not correct. It's very dangerous territory here. But I do love this technology. I love this capability. I love how it can help us to accelerate our development efforts. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you had any kind of experiences with Copilot that you'd like to share? Maybe some awesome calculations that it did for you, or maybe conversely, maybe you have something on the other end of the spectrum. You had one of these errors. You had something happen that wasn't quite correct, but it looked correct. Please take a moment to share those with us in the chat. In the comment below. I'd love to see it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.